Senator Kaine.
Thank you, Chairman Whitehouse, and thanks to the witnesses for being here. The title of this hearing is a colorful one, but it should be a no-brainer for all of us. You know, if people are cheating, especially cheating the federal government out of sizable tax revenues, we should have a system that enforces them and catches them, and they should pay for the reasons that Senator Merkley was describing. I'm very concerned about efforts to raid IRS funding, because what I really want with an IRS is an IRS that's responsive to Virginia constituents. And in the past, I've been in the Senate, I guess I'm in my 11th year now. I monitor my 1,000 outreaches a day, 365 days a year from constituents with concerns. I know what are the major ones, and IRS issues tend to be near the top. And the ones that are there are not the IRS is cracking down on me so much as I can't get a call return. I can't get my refund back in time. I want to be able to pay what I should, but I would like an IRS that's responsive. And I worry about efforts to raid the IRS funding as diminishing the quality of service that the IRS is able to provide to my constituents. My casework team in Virginia has helped hundreds of folks with IRS issues, and here's just a small taste of what they deal with. Multiple issues of constituents needing proof of their federal employer ID number and being unable to reach anyone at the IRS to assist. Multiple issues of constituents having a tax lien on their property and being unable to reach anyone at IRS to get a payoff amount in order to close on a real estate deal. Multiple issues of constituents submitting a tax payment with their tax return and where the IRS has either cashed the check but then failed to process the return, or where the check would be returned to the constituent who would later get a bill for late payment once the return was finally processed. Multiple issues of the IRS requesting ID verification, and constituents would either complete the process online and their return would still not be processed, or they would be unable to get an appointment to complete the process in person at a taxpayer assistance center. Over the last 11 years, my casework team has had to help straighten out these problems and many others as constituents deal with an IRS that is operating without the funding and technology necessary to effectively serve constituents. Dr. Sarin, the focus of most of the conversation around the IRA on funding has been about enforcement, but much of the funding that we passed was simply to enable the IRS to function properly and provide the level of service that American taxpayers have a right to expect. Can you talk about some of the ways that the IRA funding is already helping address the wide variety of issues that my constituents and those of my colleagues are dealing with on a regular basis when they're interacting with the IRS?
Absolutely, and Senator Kaine, your sort of laundry list of challenges that you've dealt with over the years actually reflects all the ways in which the IRS is making substantial progress. Refunds are being processed faster than ever before. You're in a situation where yesterday Treasury Secretary Yellen announced that walking into the next filing season, the IRS is going to be in a position where it can process and intake information from all taxpayers digitally. And that might seem small, but it's actually monumental when you think about what it means for small business owners who no longer have to fax forms to the IRS, but instead can be in a position where they can just upload them online. It's much simpler, it's much more efficient. Phone calls are being answered. People are getting help with respect to making sure that they do what they want to do, which is fulfill their tax obligations accurately. And to be clear, just like you're worried about, Senator Kaine, I want to emphasize there is no way to rescind any portion of the IRA funding and preserve these service gains. Any dollar that is taken from the IRS is going to mean less good service for your constituents.
One of the things that I've noticed about the passage of the IRA, it led so quickly to improved constituent service. And again, I'm seeing that on real time just because every day we get complaints about every federal agency. And if I watch the IRS complaints coming into my office drop dramatically, I know something's going on. I know something's going on when people are getting their refunds quicker because we hear about that every day in the phone calls to our office. And so there were few aspects of the IRA that produced a constituent response so quickly as the investments that we made in the IRS, because the IRS has used those investments to dramatically improve the customer service experience. And they plan to go further. I noticed Secretary Yellen's announcement yesterday, too. And, Mr. Chair, I'd like to introduce the statement of new policy that came out from the Department of Treasury yesterday titled IRS Achieves Key Paperless Processing Initiative Goal, outlines improvements for filing season 2024, because the IRS is not done with making constituent service, and we shouldn't screw it up by rescinding dollars that we've invested in them to enable them to serve American taxpayers better. I'd love to put this into the record.
Without objection, the document will be added to the record.
And I yield back.
And